Good morning and welcome to the Really Helpful Club, and welcome to the latest in our In Conversation series. This morning I am going to be chatting to Leonora Noad, who works with 1807. Now I can see that Eleanor has joined us already, which is fantastic. This is our series where we shine the spotlight on different entrepreneurs, business owners, everyone who's experts in their field. Their journey, graduates leaving university, starting out in the workplace, and also those people looking for career change. Just giving you a little bit of a teeny tiny synopsis about why people might be interested in this before I say good morning and welcome to you, Leonora. How are you?
I'm normally sitting in a very miserable. We'll carry on regardless. But thank you for inviting me on. Haven't done this before, whole new concept, but like it. I'm constantly telling people to push themselves beyond their comfort zone, so I'm practicing what I preach for it.
Absolutely. Well, we're delighted to have set you a challenge and to take you out of your comfort zone. The mantra by which we live in at Really Helpful Club and actually in the Austin family is courage comes before confidence. Yeah. So here's the courage bit, and hopefully the confidence, I'm sure, will emanate itself during our chat. So welcome. So Leonora, what I was literally just explaining was our whole In Conversation series is all about shining a spotlight on you, the people behind the business, understanding their journey, because we want to know why you do what you do, what makes you tick, what you enjoy about what you do, because I think that is so important. There are so many people who offer a range of different services, and actually most of stuff that we do in life is about engaging with people and actually understanding why they do what they do. I think is incredibly important and is really part of that decision-making process. So and that's what we've done. I think you are my 56th or 57th interviewee, which is fun. I just love this. I keep coming back for more because I love to understand someone's story and what they've learned along the way. And that's, I know we've got some really interesting stuff that we're going to talk about. So let's kick off with Leonora's journey. Where did it all begin? Because to me, I mean, the destination is great. That's why you're here. But actually, that journey along the way is so important, because it shapes you. It's those learnings which I think is really worth sort of delving into and understanding. So kick off about Leonora Noad.
I won't lie. I definitely spent time working out what I didn't want to do.
Now, Leonora, I'm gonna interrupt you just a sec, because I mean the Wi-Fi isn't great my end, but I'm feeling like it's fairly stable. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm not hearing you that well. So how's your Wi-Fi signal on your phone?
And I can hear you perfectly. Can't hear.
Okay. So that bit was brilliant. I think just what we're probably going to have to do is slow down a little bit, because I know what you're going to talk about is too important for people to have to hang on to and to have to listen in too carefully. So let's try slow.
No, don't worry.
About pushing you off.
About that, basically, my journey was quite a convoluted route. I a traditional, if I'm honest, public school upbringing. I got churned out at the other end. I didn't actually know what I really wanted to do. Edinburgh at the time, I ended up going back and doing an MA at Edinburgh University, which was wonderful. But I did go back as a mature student. So when I mean, headhunting wise, complete accident, a fortuitous accident, but a complete accident. I had been managing a business centre in Edinburgh for sort of family friends. Lovely couple, they decided to sell up and retire. And one half of the building was bought by a very sort of traditional, old school headhunting firm up in Edinburgh. And they had what my plans were. What was I going to do next? If I'm honest, I gave the cockiest interview of my life. thought that they were interviewing me for a sort of facilities management type role for them, which I didn't want. The bit I'd managed to miss was actually the MD was looking for a PA while his PA was on maternity leave. I might have told a slight white lie, and hadn't mentioned that I too was very dyslexic, like he was. So my poor mummy spent the first 6 months proofreading every letter that I produced for that MD. I only slipped up once. I managed to write to Golden Sachs as opposed to Goldman Sachs. Went down not brilliantly, but when his PA finally came back from maternity, I was offered the opportunity to learn how to be a researcher and a headhunter, and I'd spent so long obviously typing up these documents and candidate reports that I had a pretty good understanding of what was what. And ironically, the lovely lady who they brought in to train me ended up poaching me for many years. So that's how it started. Coupled with the psychology, it has worked well. And then I joined 1807 about 3 years ago, to add another string to my bow, which was effectively to take that recruitment knowledge and help translate it into how would I actually help an individual and a candidate to more proactively manage their career going forward. That's
which is really interesting. And so, I mean, I'm going to unpick a few of those things you just said just now, but I think before my brain goes and sort of processes it out, as it were, is I think what is really important here for anyone watching is that you offer, I guess, both sides of the recruitment coin. You understand what businesses are looking for, and also here you are now helping people to make that change as well. So it's that in-depth knowledge that you've built up over time. But I love that story, because I think that the honesty and the candor is really interesting, and it's kind of it's engaging as well, because I think if we're all truthful, we've all got a few stories where we might have told the occasional white lie, to perhaps sort of help ourselves get ourselves, you know, into a good situation, as it were. And but the other thing, you know, that someone said to me recently, and I think this is really an important message out of it, is that there's no such thing as luck. You make your luck. And you, with that sort of slight, you know, economy with the truth, well, you were making your luck. And then, you know, and then obviously, you know, thanks to your mother for helping you maintain that aura of competence, as it were. But actually, you found your way through that, and that kick-started where you are now, which is so important, which shows that, you know, tenacity, application, and actually you were in the right place, you know, because you've gone on to do that and gone on to do it really well. So kind of your gut was telling you something, and you were tactically and strategically finding your way into it. So good for you. So I don't, you know, of course I believe in luck. I'm quite superstitious, but actually it's you create the conditions for luck to come along, I think, and that's what you did.
And I was doing something I enjoyed. I love speaking with people. I love understanding what makes them. I love supporting people do more of what they love, because inevitably, if we love something, we
I've lost you. Here's a crucial statement, and you're the only one enjoying it. As far as so, someone's watching. So Jenny or Basil, is do pop something in the comments box and say if you can or can't hear Leonora, because this is so interesting. I don't want us to lose this.
Sorry, I would say problem of Somerset. Internet's not amazing at times.
Well, it is interesting, isn't it? Because quite often, actually, the further out you go, the internet can be amazing, can't it? You know, because actually it is, you know, again, thanks to the pandemic, actually, just the way we've all stayed connected.
That there's cable in the area, but it just happens to be one lane that way, and I.
No. So you just have to move house, Leonora. Right? Okay. Perfect. So yes. So yeah. Carry on. I don't want to interrupt your flow.
It was an ability. It gave me the ability to couple what I love, and that is understanding them as an individual. We are all different, and what makes us tick is very, very different. You know, people do something that they love, because if you love something, you're inevitably going to want to do more of it, and you're happy to invest more time in it. I think, and this is sort of from my point of view, I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do and university the first time around, but I had a pretty good understanding what I didn't want to do. But there was this whole corporate world out there that I knew nothing about. I didn't come from a sort of a corporate minded family. I came from quite an academically minded family, so they weren't going to offer me the support and the knowledge as to this vast jobs listed out there. And when this opportunity arose and I learned about the headhunting, and I completed the masters in the psychology, you know, I was able to combine the two. I was able to genuinely help people by listening to them as individuals, working out what makes them tick, and then supporting them to find the right career move for them. 1807's background was three chaps got together, had a really good chat, discovered that they all shared the same birthday, and as you see, July, and they realized that there was a real gap in supporting people with that sort of career transition. They are ex-army. There are a lot of people when they leave the army find it difficult to move into sort of civilian world, and they thought about it. That was how 1807 was born. But I'm a June baby, so I didn't quite fit the mold with the birth. But I was a female, which was good, the diversity piece. And also I did come from a recruitment background. So as you said earlier, I know what recruiters are looking for. I know what corporates are looking for. I know what good CVs look like, and I know what good interviews look like. So I've joined the team, and 3 years seems to have just whizzed by, and it's great because we are one size fits all. One of the questions you asked me a while back when we were originally talking was, what makes us unique? We're not, because there are so many companies out there that offer career change sort of management, but just like the concept of a car isn't unique, the car you actually choose to get you, well, yes, that's important. So most career change specialists will offer you CV support and interview technique training. We are different, and that is because of us as individuals. We really hold your hand to get you where you need to go. We don't leave anybody behind type idea. Everybody's journey is very individual. Sometimes, you know, we can go through the program and somebody has an absolute epiphany and a real win, and they've got a new career offer and they are delighted, and that's happened very quickly. For some people, it doesn't happen like that, and we've got to work with them for longer, and that's absolutely fine, because we work with you for as long as is necessary, really, to get you where you need to go. I think I did check the website this morning to remind myself, and 84% of our people get a new job offer within 3 months of working with us, which is great. But it's not just about the job offer, if I'm honest, because we get a lot of parents contacting us saying, you know, how do I get my child off the family payroll? You know, they've come up, they've done well. Now what? Or they've had a couple of years at a corporate job and they're miserable because it just wasn't quite what they expected. So we work with a lot of young graduates, a lot of people at the beginning of their career journey, which I really love, actually. I think it's an absolute honor to be right at the start of that journey with somebody, and
completely agree. So Leonora, look, we've talked about the journey, how you ended up, you know, obviously the accidental headhunter, and now the deliberate, career change specialist, and the team which you've joined. And I actually, I completely concur with that. I remember your colleague Milo coming to one of our Back to Business conferences. It must have been about 4 years ago. It was last time we did it in person, pre-COVID. And he met someone there who came to me afterwards, and she said, I thought he was great. And because he didn't just help me with a CV writing, he didn't just help me with the process of change and what I wanted to do. He stayed with me until I was in my new role. And I think that is, to me, I agree with you that there are lots of people out there doing some really great things. And, we work with a number of specialists that we rate and value and think are great. But I think the USPs are really interesting. And it's about, if someone is watching this and thinking, well, actually, this sounds like a service that I'd like to take advantage of, or like one of my children to access and understand. But actually, I think that thing of the person almost just accompany you along the way and staying with you until you're done, as it were, is I think is super special. So to me, that's what I would highlight as that can't be unique, but that I think is a really important sort of facet to what you do. So someone's watching this. So obviously you've talked a little bit about graduates, a little bit about career change, but if someone's looking, they're going, okay, so 1807, like Leonora, like the sound of these three people who all share the same birthday, and so forth. But what will they get if they come to you? Why would I want to come to you? What types of people do you help? And give us some sort of some examples of what sort of services you offer and how you help people.
Bill Gates said everybody needs a coach. So as I mentioned, obviously there's the graduates and they need help getting on a career ladder. Career change. So work closely with another company called Did Teach, the lovely Katie. And that's people leaving the teaching profession, for example, and helping understand what their skills is and translatable into a different industry. Because I think people can get in on, but I've only done it in the profession or in the army or in financial services. That to
it's so true. I think everybody is in danger of people move in such specialisms these days. There's a risk that you typecast yourself. People within the industry don't necessarily typecast you, but you pigeon yourself into that box and go, I can only ever do such and such, because that is, it's not, it is in part, I think, your comfort zone, but it's in part of I know that I'm proven in this skill set. And actually, in thinking about my career path, I don't want to go sideways or down. I want to be moving up, and therefore I can only stay in this discipline. So I think that offering people those opportunities, those moments of flight, as it were, to explore new avenues are really interesting.
Readdress life balance, if they
yes.
and they're spending far too long at work and not enjoying it. Women returning to work who've maybe taken a career break to have children, and helping them navigate how to get back into a career, either a brand new career that they've not done before, or going back. And that can also be sort of negotiating better terms which support them to be able to do that job, because there's a lot more flexibility post-COVID, especially about workplaces and sort of workforces and what makes that up. So a few candidates I've worked with, we've discussed things like compressed hours, for example, giving a woman the opportunity to go back, effectively do a full-time role, but in truncated hours, so that they can still be mum when they need.
Yeah. Well, it's bluntly, from the employer's point of view, how do they get what they really need from someone? But also, if they're also providing the conditions under which that they feel happy, fulfilled, and listened to, then they're going to absolutely get what they want.
does
works on both sides of the coin.
you know, I'm every day's a school day. I'm still learning. I have recently been, because DE&I obviously is a big buzz at the moment.
Oh, Leonora, we're losing you again.
Every day's a school day, and then read that menopausal women in the workplace, that is protected status, just like gender is. So a duty of care to support people so they don't prematurely leave the working world because they don't feel supported in their role in the first place. And women that I had spoken to, wonderful simple example was board meeting. Please stick me at the opposite side of the room to the open window. Hot flushes are awful, and I need to be able to open a window so that I can breathe. You know, what a simple thing. This is about starting the dialogue and empowering people to have the conversations in the first place. Because we also work with sort of senior executives, you know, people from the outside, you would think they've made it. They have very well paid, successful jobs, but something's gone wrong. They want more. They've not got the promotion that they wanted, or they are spending too much time in the office and not enough time at home. If they for interviews, they're not getting the job. Why getting the job? So it's helping people sort of get back the control and understand what makes them tick, and help them try and work out what steps they need to take going forward to be back in their career management, in whatever guise that looks like, whether they're literally right at the beginning of their career journey or at the opposite end where they're trying to think, I've got 5 left before I realistically want to hire. What am I going to make that the best 5 years yet, so that I can high, as opposed to sort of the daily drudgery of it all. Because we're very bespoke, I guess. That if we do have a USP on that front, one size fits all. There's no workbook that we give you to work through. This is very much about sort of the one-on-one listening, supporting, telling own truths at times, which, you know, other people might not tell them. I've spoken to quite a lot of wives in the past who have sort of raised their eyebrows and gone, God, I've been telling him that for years. But we all know that our nearest and dearest can tell us things about ourselves, and when they listen, you know, you need to trust that the person you're talking to is on your side, but is also, we will tell you the truth. It doesn't serve us to lie to you. We'll be honest.
But it's so true that you know, the thing you were saying about the people in the kind of latter stages of their career path, and it's almost like a sort of a mirror, as it were. It's you know, it's a long old life. It's a long old working life, and when you start to you know, analyze this and deconstruct it in terms of hours spent commuting, hours spent doing this, and all that sort of thing, is that, I mean, ultimately it depends on your needs, your requirements, but also your sense of purpose and fulfillment. And, you know, I think there is a temptation to just carry on doing. And if you don't stop and pause and reflect, you know, is this ticking these boxes still? And it might be, look, you have to, you know, because you've got, you know, these requirements, this mortgage, these school fees, this whatever, then, you know, fine. But it doesn't still stop you having that journey of, you know, exploring what really makes you happy and fulfilled, because you only get one shot on this planet.
I'm not suggesting that we're going to say to people, right, yeah, you're going to the office Monday morning and tell your boss where to go. No, I've talked a few people off a cliff on that one, of sort of saying might not be the best step. But, you know, people can feel at times that they've given up the fight. Like you say, they're just sort of, the day's over and they're feel quite lost and miserable. And some people are angry that something has gone awry, and it's sort of finding that way forward to say, whoa, hang on a minute. You know, if you don't put in place the proper foundations, if you don't allow yourself the opportunity to be honest with yourself as to what makes you tick and what makes you happy, then you're never going to create a scenario that you're going to feel powered, respected, fulfilled, all of that. You know, it's a kind of a wood from the tree scenario where we sort of say, you know, there is no right or wrong answer. Great,
yeah,
we've still got bills to pay, etc. But what if we could approach it slightly differently? What if we could create a working day or a working week for you that, rather than getting to the end of Friday and thinking, good God, that was torturous, you know, that was well. Did well. I enjoyed that. That was all right. And now I'm going to rest over the weekend and Monday day. Why not? Why can't we do that more?
Yeah. Completely agree. So look, if anyone is watching this who knows Leonora, knows 1807, has used them, and wants to share, you know, their testimonial, their feedback, their thoughts, that would be great. But also, this is your chance to ask Leonora a question. You know, I'm getting to ask her the questions on here, but it's not my complete, you know, unique privilege. You can ask her stuff too. So do pop anything in the comments box. And I guess, you know, it was interesting just now, Leonora, you know, you were kind of talking about the whole D&I angle and menopause and stuff like that. And what about sort of just broadening it a little bit in terms of, you know, what trend you're seeing in, you know, we're allowed to call it a post-COVID world, or, you know, how the workplace looks like now compared with, you know, a few years ago, and what trends you're seeing, what changes. You know, everyone talks about, you know, working from home, hybrid, great resignation, great unretirement, you know, these kind of overarching terms, which are, I think, really interesting and really important. But again, it's drilling it down to the individual. You know, what on earth does that mean for me? You know, and so what are you picking up at anecdotal level and that might be of
This has
interest to
been
people
in
watching?
workforce and workplace. So obviously, COVID forced us into working from home. We created infrastructures to support that. For some companies, that has meant that they have reassessed what's important for them. Do they bear the expensive overheads of having office, etc.? For some companies, actually, they've realized that they do need to have people physically in an office, but that they can be a bit more flexible as to how that works. So that got a horrific commute, why not let them work from home a couple of days a week? Why not? Because the productivity is still there, if anything. And so that's the kind of re-challenging what the workplace looks like. And again, therefore, a role might not have been accessible before suddenly does become accessible, because, for example, a lady returning to work, a man returning to work, into that office 5 days a week, but I could still do that role. I could still add value to your workforce. And then again, with regard to the workforce, sort of opening up the opportunities. I think corporates have realized that they have to reflect the people they represent. So that's a consumer of goods or a product, a service. If you don't break with regard what your workforce looks like, then you're not going to be a true representative of your client. So you know, from a headhunt point of view, you've been working on roles for people with physical disabilities, etc. And that's been really, really interesting, because suddenly the corporates were having to consider, it was all very well ticking boxes of DE&I to bring these people on board, but how physical offices going to cope if they were required to physically go into it, where their systems going to support that was blind or deaf, you know, would their system still work? And the answer is corporates are now saying, yes, let's make this work. So how wonderful to have this as individuals to be like, I could add huge value to your company if I was just given the opportunity. Let's make this work. No problems. Let's find solutions effectively. We can make it work. Let's celebrate our differences. Let's be proud of the different perceptions that we bring, you know. It's fab, and I hope that's going to continue. It's not just about women into the workplace, you know, that there was a time when there was a great focus on that, but now it's become a lot more about the individual and celebrating them and seeing what they bring to the fore. And I hope that's going to continue. I'm pretty sure it's going to continue because we're only just getting started. We've scratched the surface about what individuality in a corporate world, and for my money, it's just going to get better and better. There will be challenges along the way. I think some people make the mistake of box ticking and saying, you know, well, we've done that before, and it's like, is it me? You know, because again, that's relatively subjective. What's diverse to one company diverse to another, for example. But COVID, from a point of view and a career point, there actually are some positives. It mixed things up.
I couldn't agree more. And, you know, again, I think overall, you know, the jury is still out, and companies seem to be still kind of, you know, finding what works for them. You know, this is it was such a huge paradigm shift, I think, in terms of, you know, what hit all of us. I mean, we were talking about schools the other day and how, you know, schools have never been shut, and so, you know, for this to happen is, you know, was so significant. And but I think, you know, I think what you're talking about, the opening up the opportunities, is so encouraging, because again, you know, if someone is sitting there at home, you know, and they are thinking, okay, well, look, corporates are opening up to these opportunities, not just because they have to do it, because that's the worst reason of all. It's because it's the right thing to do. And from what you're saying, you know, it makes sense. It makes business sense. And the moment it makes business sense and it feels right, then it can really take it to the next level. And I think that is where we're headed. As you say, like so many things, never in a straight line, but it is, you know, it will be led from the top up, and then that will find its way down across, you know, all corporates, and that can only be a good thing.
Watch this space. It's always evolving. It's always changing.
So if someone is watching this and they are, you know, finishing university, thinking about entering the workplace, or they're finishing school and thinking about entering the workplace, or they are contemplating that career change, what is your best advice for, you know, what should you do next? What would be your advice to them?
Pick up the phone to somebody. Don't be afraid to at least sound out what you really need. Stuff that it does.
Leonora, I'm going to get you to start that bit again because it's too important. It's too important.
Pick up the phone and see somebody like me, whether it is the type of support that you need, whether it is going to value. Don't convince yourself that you're not senior enough or haven't got the right type of background. It's not just about that. It's about having the, you know, ability, be honest with somebody who can see both sides of, and say, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Be vulnerable. Allow yourself to be vulnerable, but ask for help. You know, your car's got a light that's blinking. You would go to a garage and say, something's wrong with my car. What is it? This is your life. This is your career. You know, pick up the phone, have a conversation. You're not tying yourself into anything. If there's a good fit there, if there's support that resonates, and makes you feel yeah, as opposed to oh god, well then let's do it. You know, you deserve the opportunity to invest in yourself to get where you need to go. You know, possibly all a bit brilliant, and we're not great at asking for help, but the help is out there if you want it. So they're very long-winded.
Yeah.
I
think that's so true. And it's a very good analogy. You know, we're not afraid to, well, we are afraid to go to the dentist, but you know, it's sort of, you know, we're not afraid to go to professionals when we need professional help, and actually it is having the courage to ask for help and knowing where to find that help at every stage in life, I think is really important. And you know, whether you are that 50-something-year-old, you know, looking for that change in direction, or that graduate or that school leaver who doesn't know where to start. And what you know is those starting points, although people do change direction, those starting points are so important. So accessing those, you know, good resources that help you find that, you know, that inner spark, I think is, you know, it is really important. So, you know, you joined 1807 3 years ago. What would you say is, you know, what do you enjoy about being part of a business, running a business? You know, what do you get from it?
I really enjoy I work with. Can you still on quite pixelated? Not sure if can you still hear me?
I've gone pixelated now. Okay, I don't know. So if someone watching, they need to know. The internet hasn't been great for this, and we don't know if it's Somerset or London that is at fault. But you know, if the messages that Leonora's been sharing, I think, are so important. And if you really if it's too difficult to sort of work your way through it, we'll absolutely do it again, because this is really important stuff. Whether you are entering the career you know, journey at the beginning of, you know, after leaving school or leaving university, or at a stage in life where you just want to change, you know, you're feeling like you want to change in direction, and that can happen at any point in life. So if you want this again, we'll do it again, because we like doing it. And so Leonora, tell me about 1807. I mean, it's been obviously just a remarkable 3 to 4 years now in terms of the impact of COVID, and obviously, you know, you joined them in 3 years ago. Where if we were sitting down in another year or 2 years time, what do you think you'll be looking back and saying that you achieved, what the business achieved? You know, where are you taking the dial, do you think?
I think to continue to listen to people as individuals about what it is that they need from us. Every day's a school. Well, I think I personally find it rewarding to work so closely with people. It's intense at times, you know. They become you to them.
Yeah.
You know, you're digging into some pretty gritty home truths sometimes about sort of them, etc.
Yeah.
And you know, I love a graduate that I feel like I'm with great foundations and great tools which they will, you know, be able to fall back on as and when they need. And anybody celebrating the successes, I have a fair few whoops on Zoom calls when people phone me or video me and say, I got the job, or I got that promotion, handed in my notes, and I'm embarking on this new training, and just to hear their whole shift, their change, they're excited. It's new, you know, that even their body language. I love all of that. That from a personal point of view, that ticks all my boxes from the psychology and the recruitment side. You know, just to see people come more alive and be a better them. I love. So more of that, please. Helping more people. You know, more challenges, finding a way to where they need to be. That's the plan.
Brilliant. Leonora, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us from Somerset, with and sometimes without the internet connection. And it's been a joy to talk to you. And I hope everyone's got a lot out of this. We will share this We're going to pop this onto our IGTV channel so you can catch up with it in full afterwards. We also put this on our YouTube channel and then on things like LinkedIn and other social media platforms. So if you enjoyed this, if this is talking to you and you're thinking about that next step in your own career, or perhaps you've got a son or a daughter who's entering the workplace, and whether that's at the end of their school journey or coming to the end of their time at university, this is a great place to start that journey and to begin to explore the different options. And because as Leonora has said, this is about you. You are unique, and actually your journey is unique, and it's so important that you find your fulfillment and your sense of purpose. So if you know someone who would benefit from this, then please do put them in touch. But I hope this has helped you. So thank you, Leonora, very much indeed, and enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.